Great day, great day. Come on in. Yes, come on in. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. As you are joining, please like and share. We love that. We love that these weekly webinars are getting some great exposure. So please like and share because you may have someone who wants to engage and wants to join you. So also tag someone to join in and tune in and listen. And someone you might tag or share this with may not be able to tune in today, but we have seen that there are quite a few views who take a look at this webinar long after we have went off live. So I appreciate that, and I hope that it is also resonating with you each week, and that you are able to continue to grow and move forward in a direction to achieve your goals, and also just shifting the mindset, because that's what this is all about. Our Mindset Monday weekly webinars. And I was just looking yesterday and am just really excited to just in my research see that this is officially our 28th week of our weekly webinar. So we have essentially been doing this a little over 6 months. And excuse me, to be able to have a level of consistency that you hear me talk about is really meaningful to me and heartfelt to me. So I am excited to be able to continue this work. And it's great work that I love to do and love sharing and love pouring in. And if anything that I say can help anyone live their best, lead their best, and be their best, then that makes this extremely, extremely worth it. So again, in the spirit of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. Please, again, like and share, tag someone, and also let us know where you are arriving. Throw that in the chat as well. This is Nick Dillon, the Believe Coach, and welcome to our Mindset Monday webinar. So our topic today is taking identity, which you've heard me talk about a lot of, just to a different level. We're going to go a little deeper with identity as we focus on what I'm calling the mindset of expansion, and really becoming the version of you who is required for you to reach your goals. Okay. So we're really going to take a deeper dive into that, because I just want to make sure that you understand that in order to reach your goals, you got to show up differently first and foremost, because that's the process of leaning into the goals. And by the time you get there, you've got to be who that individual needs and those goals need in order to have long-term sustainability, but really in order to be successful. And so that requires an evolution of you. It requires growth of you. And that's where I want us to go. So I'm going to kick off today by just having you drop in the chat one goal that you have right now for yourself, your business, your relationship that feels just slightly out of reach. Just be courageous and just drop very brief note, even if it's just a one word, that is a goal that you have for yourself, for your business, for relationship, or whatever that looks like for you, that feels just slightly out of reach. Okay. And I just want you to, as you're typing, I want you to think about that goal. Think about it. Take a moment and think about it, and just kind of resonate on it. And I want you to think about what it looks like. And for some of you, as you think about the goal, it might feel a little uneasy. You might even have a little fear about it. You might even have a little bit of angst over it, a little anxiety over it, and even fear or doubt. Okay. But I don't want you to change the goal. I want you to anchor what this feels like, because the word slightly means that you've done something up until this point to slightly get there. Okay. And we're at that interpass, I'll say, of uncomfortable or discomfort. And I want to offer to you that most people in this moment are not stuck because their goals are too big. They're stuck because their identity has not caught up yet. Okay. And so this is where we're going today. And so as you think about that goal, I want you to say with me out loud, my next level requires a new version of me. Yes, my next level requires a new version of me. Okay. So to get to that to get to that goal that I'm thinking about right now, it's going to require a new version of me. I've got to grow into it. I've got to evolve into it. And I may have to do some things that I've never done before that stretches me, which allows me to come forth as that next best version of myself. Okay. So what I want to do is as we talk today about the mindset of expansion, this is just becoming the version of yourself that is required to reach your goals. I want to take the deep dive on the reality. Let's go deeper into the reality of expansion. And so, yes, because there is really a reality of expansion, because it's not about doing more. So I want everybody to hear that. When I tell you expansion and I talk about identity, it's not necessarily about doing more. It's not about becoming more, okay? Because you cannot reach a new level with an old mindset, okay? So it's about shifting, okay? It's about shifting, okay? And that for a lot of people is tough, okay? Because many people, they try to add more effort, they try to work harder, they try to stay busier, but never ask, what do I need to become to sustain this goal? Okay. Sometimes we're just kind of all over and we're thinking, hey, I got to do more. I gotta be smarter. I gotta add more people. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And those might be some ancillary things, but the biggest thing that has to happen is us saying to ourselves, who do I actually need to become to sustain where I'm trying to go? Because in that mindset shift comes all of these additional things that have a totally different type of energy and a totally different type of perspective that allows us to get there. So in the chat, yes, we're going to do some intentional things in the chat. In the chat, I just want you to type the word expand. And really for amplification, I want you to do it in all caps. Type the word expand if you're ready to grow into your next level and not just chase it. Okay? Type that word in the chat because I want this to be intentional for you. And I want you to be courageous enough to say, yes, even though I'm slightly there, even though I'm moving in a direction that's going to require the next best version of me. And yes, right now, I don't know what that looks like, but I'm willing and I'm ready to expand. So I want you to type that in the chat. Be courageous. And thank you so much for those who are typing it in. I appreciate that. Okay. So let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. Okay. I want to talk about why people resist expansion, because yes, that's probably circling the wagon. And yes, it's natural. And I will offer to you that the reason I'm able to tell you this is because I myself resisted expansion, and I'm transparent in this process. So it's a process. It's a whole process because we think we're good. We think that all we have to do is all these other things. And oftentimes we never really think about flipping the spotlight on us and even thinking about that the objective of me to reach my goal is never really thinking that I need to get out of my own way. And I want us to know that oftentimes we have to get out of our own way, okay? Because expansion sounds exciting, but it really comes with pressure, okay? And here is why people resist. The first one, familiarity feels safe. And that means the inner critic says, hey, you're good, you're comfortable. And we like to work within the realms and the space where we feel comfortable. It's something that we've done before. It's a skill we are familiar with. It's people, places, and things that we have been around and are comfortable in the space. We've seen it, we've done it, we know it, okay? And oftentimes when we are in that space of familiarity, it feels good. And we believe that the things we need to accomplish are solely based on that familiar space, okay? And even if it is uncomfortable, it feels known. Why? Because I've been here. I know it. I know what even that uncomfortable feeling feels like. We don't want to go out of that circle or that box that takes us deeper into the unknown. Okay. And yes, again, I'll be the first to tell you I've been there, done that. We're familiar with where we are, even as you think about the goal that you mentioned earlier. As you think about that, you're trying to accomplish it based on where you are in this circle, even with the resources that you have in this circle. And going outside of that circle, thinking outside of that circle, believing outside of that circle is oftentimes not our first guess, not our first choice. Okay. So think about that for a moment. And then the next area is that fear of losing the old identity. And I can't stress that enough. That fear of losing the old identity. What has been your normal way of showing up in identity? Whatever that has looked like for you, good, bad, or indifferent, oftentimes we don't recognize, and this is all unconscious, folks, that we resist, we pull back because we're leaning into something that may not be familiar to us. And yes, the new identity you may not have seen. The new identity might very well be an expansion of what's in you that has yet to be realized and discovered. And so part of that fear is, I don't want to lose that comfort old identity that I have maintained up until this point. And I say identity, folks, but I really want you to hear it's the mindset that's attached to that identity and that thinking that's attached to that identity. And that may have gotten you to where you are now, and you're in a space that works for you. But I'm going to offer to you that in order to go next level, I've got to shift identity. And that identity has to shift upward, okay? Because growth is going to always require us to let go of who we used to be, okay? It's going to require us to let go of who we used to be. The next one is that increased responsibility. We don't want to take on more because we believe that is overwhelming capacity. And so oftentimes, believe it or not, in our mindset, we even create some of the responsibility that may or may not exist. And that resistance compounds. And folks, all of these things that I'm mentioning, you will take note that it's all mindset shifting. It's all things that are rationalized by the inner critic that hinders us from expansion, okay? Hinders us from stretching that mindset to where it needs to be so that we can go where we need to be. And yes, you will settle in and rationalize that. And before you know it, you're wondering, hey, why do I still feel I'm stuck? Why do I still feel in this same spot? Why am I not moving? And very few times Do we turn the spotlight on ourselves and say, it's me? It's always something external. And the reality is it's oftentimes ourselves. Okay? More success. Yes. If you want more, means more expectations. We're going to have to lean into expecting more from us. And part of that means is that I got to increase my capacity. And I'm not talking in the terms of doing more. Oftentimes that expectation is thinking bigger, is believing greater. Okay. And this one that we've all heard of, which is the next one, is imposter thinking. That whole, I am not that person yet. I need to wait until I get the mindset. I need to wait until I get there. I need to wait until I grow more. Okay. Again, thinking, that mindset that sometimes become a challenge in order for us to move forward. And these are some common reasons why people resist expansion. Okay. Hear this clear. I want everybody to hear this clearly. You do not become confident first. Okay. So let me just tell you that right now. You don't become confident first. You become committed first. And that's why a couple of weeks ago, you heard me say, even in the discomfort, I got to keep forward because I'm committed. Okay. And so I, as I shared earlier today, have been doing these live webinars for now 28 weeks. And I'm grateful for the 28 weeks. But I will offer to also tell you that I've been committed to them for 28 weeks. There have been weeks you just didn't know that I didn't feel well or had some challenges in getting some logistics done and wasn't always motivated and, emotions up and down on some days, just being a human. But yet and still, I remembered the commitment. And I will also offer to you that as a result of the commitment, I have actually become more confident in me in doing these every single week. Okay? So confidence itself, folks, has been built through expansion. If you would have told me a year ago that I could do this for 3 months, let alone 6 months plus, I would have probably doubted you. Okay. And I probably would have said, I don't think I could. I don't think I have the stamina or the capacity. And I would have probably made all kinds of excuses as to why I didn't have time, couldn't do it, couldn't find enough content, couldn't curate anything, couldn't do this. And I don't know the technology like that. All kinds of things that would have circled the wagon because I know me. But in that moment when I decided that, yes, I got to be committed to this, and I want to be committed to being in service, and I want to be committed to growing not only me, but my audience and those who tune in each week. And so, yes, you are definitely correct that confidence is built through that expansion. And I want you to hear that, and I want you to know that. And it's not built before. So don't think, hey, I got to wait for the confidence. No, the confidence is going to come as you move in action, as you continue to move forward, as you continue to stretch and expand. So, and see that growth, then you start to feel more and more better about you. Okay. So let's shift. Let's shift a little bit to this whole identity shift. And if your goal requires a new version of you, then we need to define that version. Okay. So if your goal is going to require you to have a new version of yourself, then what we got to do is we got to define what that needs to look like. So something as simple as asking yourself, how does this version of me think? Okay. Or better yet, how does this version of me need to think? Can I achieve what I'm thinking as a goal that I have for myself? Does it or will it work in the current mental and emotional state that I am in? Can I do it with right now thinking, or do I need to think bigger, wiser, better, stronger? Okay. How does that version of me need to think? And then the next question here is, how does that version of me need to show up daily? And these are questions that you can ask yourself and provide the answer to based on where you know you need to be. And what I love about each and every one of these questions, it's your own self-assessment. And this, in essence, is really being you, honoring you, and being honest and courageous with you. How does this version of myself need to show up daily? In order to reach that goal, I'm telling you, even as I think about the goal that I have, the big goal that I have for myself in this next quarter, ooh boy, I got to show up in a way that is going to expand me. And it is scary, if I'm being honest. It is certainly expansion. And there are a lot of expectations, if you will, that I've got to be able to have, not only for me, but in this mindset of expansion, that are going to be very, very needed and intentional in how I show up as I lead into this second quarter. What does this version of me no longer need to tolerate? That's the next question. What does this version of me no longer need to tolerate? Yes. And, that's a question that we got to ask ourselves, because if I'm tolerating, then it's pulling me back. And I'm just gonna throw it out there, and you can own it if it applies. But I'm gonna tell you for myself that the version of me no longer needs to tolerate resistance. No longer needs to tolerate the inner critic trying to say I'm not good enough. No longer need to tolerate the resistance to expansion, and even up to and including scaling my business greater. Okay? I can't tolerate the resistance to that. And so I'm using the word resistance because there's resistance to a couple of things, because the resistance appears because I'm expanding. The resistance appears because it's something new. I haven't done it before, and I have to show up differently in order to accomplish that. But I got to remind myself that if I see it and know that I no longer need to tolerate it, or can tolerate it in order to get there, then I get better. Because what is this doing for you folks? It creates awareness for you. This is all for you. This is not for anyone else, for you. And then the next question here is, what habits does this version of me need to execute consistently? Think about that. What habits do you need to consistently set up for yourself and execute in order to get there? And yes, I have been doing some things on a consistent basis that are setting me up so that when I get to where I need to be, yes, it's going to be an amazing, amazing realization and results for me. That is going to be resilience that I will honestly tell you I did not think I had. And I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. So, but I got to continue to execute consistently. Okay. This is where I'm offering to you that this is where most people miss it. They focus on the goal and not the identity. And that, folks, is not going to get you where you need to be. The goal is the goal. And now I got to remember who and where and what and how do I need to be in order to get there. Okay. For example, you do not achieve leadership You don't just achieve leadership. Okay. So it's not a accomplishment that you achieve. You become a leader. Okay. You become a leader. And when you become that leader, great leadership is achieved. So listen to that. You don't just achieve leadership, you become the leader. So you change your identity so that you can expand into great and effective leadership. Okay? You do not achieve anything. You just simply practice confidence daily. Okay? I don't achieve confidence. I practice confidence daily in my choices and the things that I do on a consistent daily basis. And before you know it, I can say, wow, I am feeling and achieving great confidence. But I can look back just with leadership, effective leadership, and see the evolution. Same with confidence, and see the evolution. You're never going to wake up one day and say, ooh, boom, I'm confident. Ooh, boom, I'm this amazing leader. No, there should be a roadmap that shows you how you got there. And in that roadmap, there should be some history of evolution and evolving. And yes, folks, some ups and downs that made you get really good at what you are now. Okay? So those are some examples of the way the mindset has to shift and think in terms of expansion. Okay? So in the chat, I want you to tell me, what is one trait, just one trait, one word, that your next level self must have in order for you to reach your goals. Just drop one word that is one trait that the next best version of you needs to have in order to reach your goals. And thank you for the chat engagement. I love it. I love it. I love it. Drop that word in. Yes. Yes. Speak it. Be open and honest. Great. Let's continue. Expansion. Yes, expansion is going to require us to let go. It's going to require letting go. Okay? You cannot step into this new version of yourself while holding on to the old one. At some point, I'm going to have to let go because I need all of my energy and all of my strength to go forward, not backwards. And you can't low-key pack some old stuff and put it in a book bag or put it in a suitcase and bring it along for the ride. I know some of us really want to, but you can't do that. As you evolve, you have to only want to involve with the best versions of you that you need in this season of your life. There is a lot of stuff that we all must let go. Okay? It requires us to release old beliefs, old habits, old environments, old conversations. We've got to let that stuff go. Old feelings, old history that's not serving us today. We want to hold on to this stuff. We want to bring this stuff along for the ride. It's not serving you. It has nothing to do with where you're going. But it's this security blanket because feelings and emotion says keep it. Feelings and emotion says you need to remind yourself of it. Feelings and emotions say, hey, you need this as a security blanket. Feelings and emotions say you're addicted to it. You want to keep it. You want to hold on to it. You want to keep bringing it along. You want to keep bringing it up. It's not serving you. It's just meant to keep you stagnant. Okay? It's not going to serve you where you're going. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that is not aligned with where I am going? Simple question, very personal question. Just ask yourself, what am I holding on to that has nothing to do with where I'm going? Because sometimes growth, folks, feels like loss, but it isn't. It's actually alignment. And all I'm doing is making sure that the values that I have today, the values that I show up with today, who I show up as, is all in alignment with literally where I'm trying to go. Okay? That's what I want you to remember. And yes, these values are going to be stretched. They're going to be expanded. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to get lean and mean. But I got to know that that is what is required in order for me to get there. Because I need to show up as who that person needs and what that experience will need. And as I even talk about my own goal and expansion with the business, man, I gotta show up in a mighty way, in a great way, in an executing way. And I know that that's going to require some growth in me mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And when I get there, yes, when I get there, I'm claiming it. I want to be able to know that I am that identity that is needed for me to show up in the best way possible. So yes, I can continue to be that effective leader. Okay? So in each and every one of you, I want you to have that same story for yourself. Okay? So I want to give you some practical expansion strategies before I let you go. Some practical expansion strategies. So let's make this real and actionable. 4 steps. Okay? 4 steps I'm going to give you. First and foremost, I want you to define the identity. Okay? Literally, write down who you need to become. You know it more than anybody else. Be honest with yourself. Write down who you need to become. Okay? Next, I want you to audit your current self. Where are you out of alignment? Okay? Audit yourself. Nope, don't need this. Don't need to be impatient. Don't need to be procrastinating. Don't need to be resistive. Don't need to think that I'm not good enough. Don't need to think I don't have time. All that stuff is not alignment. And I'm just naming stuff off the top of my head that I know I need to get rid of. It's not alignment. Okay? And then I want you to create a daily report. Why? Because small actions that reinforces the new identity. As I'm getting rid of these things that I have on the list, that means I'm evolving into someone better. And when you're removing the things that are on the list, folks, guess what? You're expanding. Because in order for me to let go of the old, I got to expand the new. Okay? Next, hold the standard. Do not negotiate with your old self. I let it go. Don't reach back in the garbage and get it and hold on to it. And too many of us, we get right at the fork in the road, right in the middle of the journey. It starts getting uncomfortable. We get at the beginning of this webinar, I said, we're slightly there. We get slightly there, almost. And what do? It gets uncomfortable. We get frustrated. And what do? We go back. The only thing I know is this feels way too uncomfortable, but I know where I've been. I know what stuck looks like. I know what lack looks like. I know what I'm not good enough looks like. So let me retreat back into that feeling that doesn't serve us. We don't get there. Next thing we know, boom, we out the game. Okay? And it reminds me of Think and Grow Rich. 3 feet from goal. 3 feet from goal, but he got frustrated and lost out. Somebody came along, and in 3 feet, they hit it. Stop giving up in the discomfort. Don't negotiate with the old version of yourself. Let it go, and going back to it, make it not an option. Keep moving forward. Hold the standard that the goal needs. Okay? Stay in the game. I can't stress that enough. Stay in the game because consistency builds on that identity. And that identity will sustain your results. Okay? Yes, folks, just pause. Yes, I want us to just pause for a moment. Just pause and think about that for a moment. Simple things that we got to do to make sure we don't get out the game, but we got to keep moving forward. And even though, yes, even for me, it's uncertainty, but because I've seen the roadmap and I've seen what it looks like, and I've seen what the results can look like in my own research. And I believe that I can do it. I believe that it is for me, and I believe that I have the ability to get there. But I also know that I've got to expand into the identity that gets that. Okay? And what I want you to do is just drop in the chat for me. What version of you are you actually willing and going to leave behind? What version are you going to leave behind of you? If you're courageous enough, just share us. Share with us. What version of yourself are you willing to and intentionally going to simply leave behind? And what version of you are you stepping into? And a courageous one is what I'm stepping into. An intentional version of myself I'm stepping into. Yes. Yes. In service at a level that is going to be very, very demanding, but I'm up for it. And yes, that feels very, very uncomfortable, but I'm up for it because I'm going to grow into what that needs to look like. So just throw in the chat, what version of yourself are you leaving behind? Who are you stepping into? And thank you all for really, truly being honest and sharing. I appreciate that. So here's what I want you to walk away with tonight. Your life will not expand beyond your identity. How you see you, you're not going no farther than that. But as you continue to expand, yes, and if you want more, you must become more. Not someday. Not someday, because that's not a day. Not when you feel ready. Now. So say it loud with me as we wrap this up. I am becoming the version of me that my goals require. I am becoming the version of me that my goals require. Yes, you will, and you are. Be blessed, and thank you all so much for tuning in tonight and being courageous in the chat. I really, truly thank you so much for that. And if you find that you have a challenge with expansion, yes, as always, each week, I love to be an accountability partner with you and for you. You see the discovery call narrative scrolling across the bottom of this screen. In the link in the bio of whichever platform you joined in, you can click on that and join a discovery call with me, and let's go deeper. You can click on the QR code on the screen as well. Let's go deeper. You got this. You're slightly there. You just got to let go, expand, and it's going to happen. I am becoming the version of me that my goals require. Yes. Be blessed, folks. Have an amazing rest of your day and evening, and have a rock star week. Go get it. Lean in. You got this. Take care.